Hi, my name is Esma. This is Book Club with Esma. The purpose of why I'm doing this is to be able to share my thoughts and emotions to a recording or a video so that I can maximize the effect of its importance and the things that I read and my memory in a better way to maximize the effect of the books I have read on me. And this is a way of me being able to tell my opinion uh, in a better way. So it's like something linguistic. And also like kind of like public speaking, and also I would like to record myself more about the my opinions and the books that I've read, because over time my opinion changed a lot, and I would like to see, maybe looking back in the past, I'll be able to see what kind of stand I had in the past and my opinions and everything and my general view for the world. And this will be an interesting way to see it, because hopefully I'm going to be continuing this, and this will also give me the motivation to read more. Hopefully I will read more. I'll also be recording myself talking about the past books I have read. I will have to revise them and go through one more time to be able to remember, because whenever I read a book, it doesn't really sit with me for a very long time. Like, I do have an opinion about it, I do remember the plot, but I want to build a better structure and build a better base for it, and an opinion based, and the things that it taught me. So the first book that I will be talking about in my first part of Esma's Reading Book Club. I don't know if this is gonna be the official name. I don't even know if I'm going to post it, but okay. So this is also gonna be videos of me telling my own opinion, my own standing point, and my own experience of reading the book, what it taught me, what I think is the best part of the book and stuff. Also, it is gonna be a recommendation book, and also some kind of a personal experience. So it won't be objective, it will be very subjective from my point of view. So yeah. The first book I have read, I'm right now in my house in Petropavlovsk, and I like one thing about being home, because I don't have a lot of people to communicate with, and I have a lot of time being alone. And since I deleted all my social media, I am back to reading my books. And the first book I have read for this month, for April, this book took me about 3 weeks to read. It is a very small book, but unfortunately, it took me quite a lot of time, which is unfortunate. And it is about 200 pages. Let me check. Yeah, it's about 200 pages. And let's start. So the book was Haruki Murakami, After Dark. As someone who have read Murakami's books, I have actually read 3 books. This is my 3rd book of Murakami. The first book I've read was Norwegian Wood. The second book was A Wild Cheap Chase. I think the name was that, but I might be mistaken, but it is some kind of something like that. I read it back when I was in 11th grade. And this is my 3rd book. As someone who loves reading Murakami because of the way it is very easygoing and I can understand it in a very clear way, and it is not that hard for any person of age or any person of education can read it, as long as you know English, as long as the language suits you. And Murakami, After Dark. So shortly I will be explaining the plot. So this book contains our main character, whose name is Mary, and Mary starts with her personal life and her personal experiences, At the same time, the book also follows the story and the narrative of a person, like the audience, who's us, uh, watching Mary's sister Eri Asai sleep. So the book contains two different not realities, but two different timelines. The first one is us looking at Mary's life, Mary's experiences through night, what Mary's doing, what Mary's up to, her experiences, the things that is happening in her life during this period of time. So the book starts with a timeline. That is why the book is called After Dark. So the book starts at 11:56 p.m. So this is night, and we start the book at about 12 a.m. and we finish the book at about 6 in the morning. So this book contains a timeline of events that is happening in Mary's life, and also we see Eri Asaya, her sister, sleeping. So we are the watcher of Eri Asaya sleeping. So I think the book is very, very surreal, and I think it carries a very dark vibes. It's as if, as someone who have read Murakami before, I think Murakami is a very excellent writer, because from my experience, whenever I read Murakami, I must read it till the end for me to make some kind of an opinion on the book, because from my personal experience, Murakami never gives the actual plot, the actual meaning of the book from the very beginning or in the middle. Murakami gives the whole meaning at the end. When you finish the book, you get this sense of thought, this idea of the whole book itself. So my advice for people reading Murakami is don't leave it on the half just because you don't understand anything. It gradually builds up inside you, and when you finish it, you get the opinion. You get like, oh, so this is the book, this is what it's talking about. It creates a whole plot. It's as if you're watching a movie that is very very beneath, like, it's not beneath the surface, it's under surface meaning movie. So when you finish the movie, you kind of get what the movie is about, the feeling that it gives you. And I think Murakami, it carries the same thought of process. So when I first started the book, it felt like a gradual process of what's happening. It's very slow and it's very dark. It also contains some kind of surrealism, like you feel like you're in a very muted, and you're in a very colorful, as if you're drunk, you're high, and you're going through some experience, but you cannot put it into the right words. The way the characters talk, and the way the narrator talks, who is talking from our side, like, sometimes Murakami gives it as a we, but when talking about the main character, Mary, he gives it as I. So when Murakami states as we, I felt like I was watching a movie and I was the director. I was not the director, but a watcher, and the director was clearly explaining the whole movie process. Because in the book there were parts where Murakami would constantly explain the camera angles, what we're seeing, what kind of emotion is going on, what kind of vibe, what kind of atmosphere is going on. And when you're reading this, you kind of imagine it in your head, and it's as if you're totally blind, and a movie expert or a movie director is constantly explaining you the whole perspective of the image, of the book, of the scenario from all sides, and you kind of get the image inside your head. And it's always so like, even if it's so clear, it's at the same time it's very blurry. It's as if you're in a dream, and I think that's the whole part of the book itself, because it contains the timeline of nights. It contains the timeline from 12 to 6 till sunrise. It's like after dawn, like, you know, that timeline where you're in a dream. But it also contains the sense that Mary was awake when everyone was asleep, and Mary was going through this night, Tokyo night, dark vibes, dark experiences. Like, there was a part where a Chinese sex worker, got abused by someone who was her client, and they were in a love hotel. And these situations are people getting abused, people getting threatened, people getting killed, and even like there was a scene where a person named Takashi was a jazz player, and he got threatened by someone calling him. It was actually called by a different kind of phone, but you get what I mean. It gives the sense of stuff that you would go through if one night you woke up at 12 a.m. at night and would go outside and explore the nights of Tokyo, the dangerous nights of Tokyo, where people are all asleep and the only people that are awake are like the dangerous kind of people. Or you will get in a dangerous situation at night more than when you're out in the morning. So it also gives this kind of sense when you finish the book and when you observe it. And it is very dark, it is very chilly, kind of feels like a thriller, but there's nothing actually going on that much for it to be thriller. And Eri is the sister of Mary, who is asleep. And according to Mary, Eri hasn't woken up for a very long time. And from my personal view, I think why we see Eri as the second plot of the book is to show that, like, from us reading that Eri is asleep, we also see that the world is asleep. So Eri is kind of like a metaphorical way of showing the world is asleep. And we see that Eri never moves when she's asleep. She's always in the same position, and she's very beautiful. She's very, very beautiful. And at some moment in Eri's room, there's a TV. At some part of the book, Eri wakes up and she gets sucked up into the TV. And she starts, she's stuck in this box and she cannot escape. And Eri watches herself sleep from the TV. And actually this was very disturbing to see, because the whole book we see how the writer, the author, describes Eri as a very beautiful young woman who was a model, who is very pale and beautiful and young, and it keeps on mentioning these stuff. And then when Eri gets sucked up and sees herself in that way, I felt like even whenever we were watching Eri from the outside as the readers, it felt very disturbing, as if we are objectifying Eri even in her sleep. So that's my personal opinion. Also, the way, in a cinematic way, of Murakami explaining this plot, explaining the story, is as if Tokyo itself, Tokyo itself, is a character. And we see how the emotions of this character develop in a very cinematic way. And there's this passage I saw in the book, I have to read it. Eyes mark the shape of the city. Through the eyes of a high-flying night bird, we take in the scene from midair. In our broad sweep, the city looks like a single gigantic creature, or more like a single collective. entity created by many intervening organisms. Countless arteries stretch the end of its elusive body, circulating a continuous supply of fresh blood cells, sending out new data and collecting the old, sending out new consumable and collecting the old, sending out new contradictions and collecting the old, to the rhythm of its pulsing. All parts of the body flicker and flare up and squirm. So, when Murakami writes this, he uses a very interesting way of putting Tokyo into a human mind and body, and gives Tokyo its own character and describes these characteristics in these kind of manners. And towards the end of the book, we see how Eri is slowly and gradually starting to get further away from these events that is happening, these violence and these fantastic, mythical, dark events that has happened during her night experience. And she at the end goes to her sister's room and she lays down next to her and they are sound asleep. And the book ends with quite an interesting way of putting morning and the dawn, not the dawn, the sunrise. It explains sunrise, it explains as if we and the city and Tokyo is coming back to its senses and is waking up. It gives this kind of light and hope and this sense that this whole process, which was for a short period of time, has ended and it's a new beginning, and the sun has risen and everyone is awake, and you feel as if you were in a very, very dark nightmare and now you have waken up. And I think the whole purpose of this book was to show this process of night in contrast to how it develops and in contrast to the way morning works. Like the way morning and night are so different, and the whole contrast can be seen at the end of the book, also in the beginning, because the beginning was very soft. The beginning and the end was very soft. It's as if when you're about to fall asleep, you're actually safe. You're not in the darkness yet. You're not getting caught up in the nightmare. And at the end, you feel this relief as if it's coming to an end. So it was a very dark and mystical and surreal and fantastical experience reading this. I quite liked it. If you're someone who wants to read a book which shows the whole meaning, the whole purpose of the book in a clear way and in a well-structured way, and is just written and given to you by a plate, then I don't think Murakami is the kind of author that you should be reading. I mean, you can read it, but I personally don't think you would get something from it, but because it is very blurry, and it is as if you have put something on it. It's as if you have put a piece of sheet on a food. You cannot see the food, but you can see the structure of it, and you can give it a name and a purpose and a meaning, but you actually don't see that much. And I think Murakami gives us the space to be thinking about our own observation of his work, and I think this is a very interesting way to put and to write and to create these kind of pieces. Because when reading Murakami, everyone gets this different types of interpretations on their own, and it's very interesting to see all this. And also, oh my god, when I'm speaking English, I feel like I have this very strong accent that is very irritating to the ear. And I hope I hope it's not that like that, and I hope I'm exaggerating. And here we have some like reviews from people that have read Murakami, and I would like to read it. A few. From The Observer. The familiar drowsy jazz bars, enigmatic females, and affable, directionless males are out in force. And so it is the writer's irresistible, easygoing style gliding us through the darkest passages of a Tokyo night. This was the first one that I liked. The second one is Murakami's gift is that his bizarre and disconnected universe makes intuitive sense. This was from Sunday Times. And the third is Washington Post. Murakami has always been out front, riding the zeitgeist, investing his work with an aura of the surreal, uncanny, and fantastic. So this also, I totally agree on both three of them. So yeah. This book was about, I would give it a 6 out of 10. It was a nice read. It was easy. I could easily like go through the whole process, and it wasn't very hard to read. And it was nice. It wasn't a waste of time. I got a different perspective of a writing style, and I like Murakami in like generally. Besides Murakami as a person, I like Murakami's works. Only the ones that are not misogynistic. Yeah, but objectively, I like Murakami's works because it is very easygoing style. And yeah. To wrap it up, this was the first episode of Esma's Reading Book Club, and it's been 23 seconds. Oh my god, okay. I have to go because my camera storage is very limited. So I hope you have liked it. I think I will post this on either YouTube or Telegram. And yeah. What else can I say? I will be putting reviews about the books I have read and my opinion on them and the past books that I have read, and I'm going to be making a challenge for myself to read a book a month and give a review about it. So this is the book of March, and hopefully I'll be reading more. And this month I'm aiming to read a lot, share my opinion directly and openly like this to a camera, so that I can put my thoughts in a more structured way, because it is something that I really have to challenge myself because I'm really bad at it. So hope you liked it. Hope this won't be the first and the last. Hope I will continue this challenge. Yeah, thanks. Today was 16th of March 2025. I'm in Petropolis, Kazakhstan, and bye! Bye bye.